Hey everybody. Sorry about that. We got cut off on that the first video because my memory was full and I didn't realize that I forgot to clear it out. I thought I had already cleared out enough to do this video, but obviously I didn't. So it is what it is. So all right, let's get back to the subject. So yeah, like I was saying before I got cut off on the video, that's a transmission heater, and that right there is actual transmission cooler. So there you have the difference. This is why I highly recommend people to run the aftermarket transcooler. The external transcooler is because it'll keep the transmission a whole lot cooler and a whole lot happier than that transmission heater right there. That's submerged in a radiator side tank at about 200 plus degrees. So just wanted to get on here and show you guys, what the difference is. That way you have a better understanding of why I always recommend it. And I always recommend, maintenance. Maintenance is key, especially when you're talking about, anything, an engine, the transmission. Maintenance is key, man. That fluid doesn't last forever, and it doesn't keep its strength forever. So you have to change it. So when you change the fluid can remain strong inside the transmission or the engine or transfer case or whatever you have. So your fluid remains fresh. Your parts will live a lot longer, remain a lot cooler, and you always get good results from that. If you don't change your fluid and you just keep on going with no maintenance, then that can start to damage your parts, because once your fluid starts breaking down, there's no more protection, and when there's no more protection on the parts inside the transmission or engine or whatever you have fluid in, then that's when your parts become risk for damage. So you don't want that. An oil change and transmission change is a whole lot cheaper than having to pull a transmission out, go through it, rebuild it because you neglected it. You know what I'm saying? So try to keep on top of that. But yeah, so also when you do run an aftermarket transmission cooler, always run a line that's rated for transmission fluid pressure. Transmission fluid pressure is anywhere from like about 150 up to like 250. So don't just use no generic SAE or SEA hose. That's rated for like some fuel hose, and it's not high pressure, man. You don't want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to get you some transmission line. This is a Parker transmission line, like a push lock. It's for push lock. So basically, I guess push lock would be that's what you call like a push lock, like a barb. Because once you push it on, you can't really pull it off, but they do have push lock, that you push it and it, clicks. It has like a little clip and it locks in place. But yeah, man, this is, make sure you get, the correct transmission hose line, see it says 400 PSI rated. So you want something that's actually going to be able to handle the pressure of that transmission fluid, when it's moving. So don't just put no old generic regular old $1 a foot advanced auto parts SEA fuel hose, because you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have leaks and blowouts. So get a transmission hose that's rated for transmission fluid. They do make them, and they're not that expensive, to be honest with you. I bought it all the time. Usually, truth be told, when you buy an aftermarket transcooler, it already comes with a high pressure hose anyway. So, so you're good to go. Just make sure you have enough. If you don't, just look on that hose and see what type of hose it is. You probably look it up online and get it from Amazon, eBay, or whatever, or whoever the company is of the hose, they're selling it. You can get it off their website. You know what I mean? So that way it'll save you in the long run. So you don't have no problems. You're not riding down the highway because you put cheap hose, on the transmission cooler, and they blow out, and you just cruising, don't know you got to blow out until your car won't move anymore because it's out of transmission fluid, and it didn't overheated. Now you got to pull it apart and rebuild it because you didn't burn up the clutches and everything else. So just be mindful of those things, man. Those little details like this right here can cost you a whole lot of money if you don't do it correctly. You know what I'm saying? So just want to jump on, guys, and show you the difference between an internal transmission cooler and an external transmission cooler. And which one's more efficient and which one's less efficient. So, you know, now everybody should have an understanding, you know, of why I recommend an aftermarket external transmission cooler versus a factory internal transmission heater. I keep saying heater because this thing will do nothing but, you know, get your transmission fluid really, really hot. So that you don't want. You don't want your transmission getting over 180 degrees. And once you start reaching 200, 210, then we in trouble. You know what I mean? So you're really starting to work on the internal parts at that point. All right, so I guess this will be part 2 of this video because we got cut off on the first one. So so glad to be able to pick up where I left off. So thank you for everybody that has watched the video and is watching the video. Please like and subscribe. If you got any questions, please hit me up. Feel free to hit me up, man. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You can message me on any 4 of those platforms, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can. If I don't have the answer, I can get it for you. So just glad to be able to bring this to everybody's attention so everybody has a better understanding of how this goes. Now, this is not only for a Ford Escort, you know. This goes for other vehicles as well, you know, that has that style transmission, that style transmission heater, this style transmission heater. So you always want to go to that if you can, you know what I mean. So this right here will save your transmission's life. It'll save the performance. Like it makes a world of difference. Trust me, it makes a huge difference when you have the correct transmission cooler on a transmission to cool it down so it doesn't get scalding hot. Especially when it's like, man, you gotta figure when it's when it's 100 plus degrees outside and this thing is running in that side tank on that radiator with that coolant, man, that's 200 plus degrees, man, that transmission fluid probably scald your skin if it touch you. So what you think it's doing to the internal parts, you know what I mean? So yeah, man. So like I said, this is not just only for Ford Escorts. This is for all other vehicles that have automatics, you know, that do not that have the internal transmission heater rather than a external transmission cooler. So, all right, everybody. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here, man, and I hope everybody gets the idea. If not, you know, feel free to reach out to me, and I can be more detailed about this. I was glad I was able to take this actually disassemble this, take it apart, so you guys could see what I was talking about, rather than it just hanging out inside this tank here. So now you see what I was talking about. So, all right, well, that's going to conclude this video, and I appreciate everybody that tuned in, that watched the video, that's going to watch the video after I post it. So if there's anything you guys want me to put out there as far as content and want me to touch on a certain subject, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to do so. I'll be more than happy to do that for you guys. So thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, type it in the comments. You need to get in touch with me, you know, feel free to reach out. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. If I don't have the answer, I can get it for you. All right, everybody. Well, hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Sunday and has a wonderful work week. Peace out.